Hello and welcome to another APPNET OS tutorial. In this video we want to show the APPNET OS HTML source code compressor, the script and the style cache. Let us begin with the source code compressor. With HTML, PHP, Twig and Smarty, developers in APPNET OS can use a lot of different templates for their views. Depending on the template, APPNET OS generates the corresponding HTML code. However, uncompressed, the generated code contains many spaces and empty columns. The empty columns and spaces make up to 20% of the size in the source code. With the APPNET OS HTML source code compressor, all spaces and empty columns are removed, which significantly reduces output and makes the source code readable. In APPNET OS, each app has its own styles and scripts. These are loaded by the system at runtime and, depending on the settings, installed in the source code. Without a style cache, styles are output directly in the head area of the current page and must be rebuilt every time they are called. Without active compression, the CSS files of all apps, the currently accessed page, are combined into the HTML source code. This is an advantage when developing APPNET OS apps. The styles can be viewed here at any time directly in the code. With active style cache, all CSS files from all active apps are written to a style file, which is loaded via the head area. The style file gets a unique hash when creating it. If another style file is added from a new app, the cache must be cleared via the APPNET OS admin area. The next time a page is accessed, the cache file with the styles of the new app is regenerated. For this she gets a new unique hash. This ensures that the user's browser loads the new file. This eliminates the need to clear the browser cache. With the CSS Minifier, all output and linked styles can be compressed. This removes all comments, spaces and blank columns in the output and in the generated files. Note that all APPNET OS cache and compression options are built directly into the system and do not require external, server-side tools such as Grunt, SAS, or uglifier. All these tools are built directly in PHP. If the CSS cache separate files option is activated, a separate CSS file is created for each app and linked in the head area. This option is particularly advantageous for large web applications. Only the CSS files that are needed on the current page are then sideloaded. The user then always loads the CSS files from the accessed page into his browser cache, which is significantly better for the performance. Also, these files always get a unique hash as a name, and the users do not have to empty their browser cache with every change. Depending on the settings, the individual files can also be compressed. The JavaScript cache works similarly to the style cache. With deactivated JavaScript cache, all scripts from all apps used at the current page are added to the end of the source code. If the JavaScript cache is activated, then all JavaScript files from all active apps are combined into one file, saved and linked in the head area of the page. All generated JavaScript files also get a unique hash as file name. For changes and after clearing the cache, a new hash is also used here. In order to load a newly created file, the user does not have to flush his browser cache here either. Here, too, by disabling compression, the content of the JavaScript files raw is inserted into the source code. This has the advantage that the code is always visible and readable during development. Also in the JavaScript cache there is the option to create single script files. For large applications with many apps and scripts, only the files that are needed on the currently accessed page are output. As a result, the files are gradually cached by the browser while users are browsing. APPNET OS makes it easy to develop your own apps. Scripts and styles only have to be stored correctly in the app directory. The system does the rest for you fully automatically. Developers don't have to worry about how to integrate their CSS and JavaScript files. APPNET OS offers two compression levels for JavaScript. The JavaScript minifier automatically removes all comments, spaces, and empty columns. As a result, depending on the development, the scripts are significantly reduced. Developers do not have to minimize their files themselves, which makes it extremely difficult to read the files. The uglifier integrated in the system compresses all JavaScript files to a minimum. Here, all variable names are reduced to a smallest one. For developers, it is very important that they always write their app scripts in a class, otherwise uglifying can lead to the same variable names that overwrite each other in the opposite direction. The biggest advantage of the uglifier is that developers can always provide variables and functions with a unique name, which is easily recognizable and readable for development. It is not necessary to pay attention to the size of the assigned names. The size minimizes the system directly when the page is accessed. The uglifier achieves the greatest success when integrating a single script file. With a combined large script file, the uglifier manages to reduce it by up to 50%. Of course, this is very advantageous, as the download time of the users is very reduced. The minimized script generated by the uglifier is unreadable for humans and very difficult to dismantle, which greatly increases the security of the web application. As you can see, the handling of APPNET OS with styles and scripts is gigantic. With just a few clicks, you can set how they are output in your web application. All the possibilities presented here are integrated directly into APPNET OS. You do not need compilers or server-side programs that have to run in the background. For developers of APPNET OS apps, many steps are omitted here, which saves a lot of time. Developing can be so easy. App custom style and app JavaScript simply have to be stored in the right app directory, and the system does the rest. APPNET OS is licensed under the Apache 2 license. It is free of charge for everyone and may be used and modified according to their own needs. Test it and write your impressions here in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have fun developing. Until next time.